The disappearance of a pregnant Frederick woman and her 2 children has captured the nation's attention.
We see a lot of horrible stories where a husband kills his wife, but this one's different.
We're hearing from the suspect and his side of the story, a story police just don't believe.
How you guys doing?
Hi.
Here, Nicole?
Yes. Called, I've texted. Her car's in the garage. Her shoes she wears every single day are right in the front door.
Come give me a hug. Oh.
The last time I talked to her was this morning. She said she's going to take the kids to a friend's house, and then she asked where she was going to be.
This was one of the worst, if not the worst, cases I've ever had in 19 years of police work. Shanann was 15 weeks pregnant with a little boy that she was going to name Nico.
8 years later, we have 2 kids. We live in Colorado, and he's the best thing that has ever happened to me.
Chris Watts and Shanann's love story began like a fairy tale. They met in 2010 when Shanann was going through a tough time, battling lupus and recovering from a painful divorce. Chris swept her off her feet, showering her with attention and care that seemed almost too good to be true. He'd sit for hours, letting her sleep with her head on his lap, never moving a muscle to ensure she got the rest she desperately needed. Shanann's mother, Sandra, was so impressed by Chris's devotion that she declared, "God must have sent him to you." Their whirlwind romance led to marriage in 2012, and soon they were living the American dream in Frederick, Colorado. Despite Shanann's previous fears of infertility due to her lupus, the couple was blessed with 2 beautiful daughters, Bella and Celeste. Life seemed picture perfect, with Shanann frequently sharing their family's joyful moments on social media. In 2018, the Watts family had even more reason to celebrate. Shanann was pregnant again, this time with a boy they'd already named Nico Lee. In a touching moment that would later haunt viewers, Shanann revealed the pregnancy to Chris during a Facebook Live video.
We did it again. Really?
Really?
That's awesome.
Her face beaming with excitement as she shared their joy with the world. But beneath the surface of this seemingly idyllic life, dark currents were swirling. The family that appeared so perfect on social media was about to become the center of a nightmare that would shock the nation and leave everyone asking, how could a man who once seemed so caring turn into a monster capable of unspeakable acts?
It was just too strange, too baffling for it not to leave a lasting impact in your head about how does this happen?
The picture-perfect Watts family facade shattered on August 13, 2018. Shanann, 15 weeks pregnant, had just flown in from a business trip at 2 a.m. Her friend Nicole dropped her off, not knowing it'd be the last time she'd see Shanann alive. Hours ticked by. No texts, no calls, a missed doctor's appointment. Shanann's social media, usually buzzing with family updates, fell silent. Nicole's worry turned to dread. By afternoon, she couldn't shake the feeling something was terribly wrong. Nicole made the call that would blow the lid off the Watts family secret. She dialed 911 for a welfare check.
Hi, Stacey. My name's Nicole, and I'm calling because I'm concerned about a friend of mine. She's 15 weeks pregnant, and she wasn't feeling well over the weekend, and I have called and texted. I've come to her house. She's not answering the door. She's not responding to text messages.
As cops pulled up to the quiet house in Frederick, Colorado, they had no clue they were about to uncover a crime so heinous it would grip the nation and expose the dark truth behind Chris Watts' caring mask.
Police department, if anyone's inside, make yourself known.
When officers arrived at the Watts residence, they found it eerily quiet.
I mean, I don't see anything out of place. I'm not hearing kids. I'm not hearing anything.
Shanann's car was still in the garage with the children's car seats inside. Her purse and phone were left behind, all signs pointing to something being terribly wrong. Chris Watts appeared cooperative at first, allowing officers to search the house and speaking calmly about his missing family. He even went on local television, pleading for their safe return with an unsettling calmness that left many uneasy.
Shanann, Bella, Celeste, if you're out there, just come back. Like, if somebody has her, just please bring her back.
As investigators delved deeper into the case, Chris's facade began to crumble under scrutiny. Surveillance footage from a neighbor's security camera showed Chris backing his truck into the garage early on August 13th and loading it with something before driving away. A crucial piece of evidence, as he was the only one seen leaving the house that day. Under mounting pressure and after failing a polygraph test on August 15th, Chris confessed to his father that he had killed Shanann, but claimed it was in response to her harming their daughters.
I didn't hear anything. I was
thoughts there that came back up, and they were gone. I don't know, like, what else to say. Like, I freaked out. Those are my kids.
This story quickly unraveled as investigators pieced together more evidence. The night of the murders was marked by a confrontation between Chris and Shanann. She confronted him about an affair he was having with a co-worker, Nicole Kessinger, which he was indeed having. The argument escalated when Shanann threatened to take their daughters away, telling Chris he would never see them again. In a moment of rage, Chris strangled Shanann in their bed. He later told investigators that it felt as though something had been implanted in his mind that morning, suggesting a premeditated intent despite his claims of losing control. Shanann did not fight back or scream during the attack. Chris's brutality knew no bounds. He showed no mercy even to their unborn son, Nico, growing in Shanann's womb, snuffing out 2 lives with his bare hands. After killing Shanann, Chris wrapped her body in a sheet and attempted to carry her downstairs, but ended up dragging her down instead. Their 4-year-old daughter, Bella, walked into the room holding her blanket and asked what was wrong with her mother. Chris told her that Shanann wasn't feeling well. Chris then loaded Shanann's body into his truck and placed Bella and 3-year-old Celeste in the back seat alongside their mother's body. He drove them to a remote oil field where he worked. At the site, Chris removed Shanann's body from the truck. As his daughters asked him what he was doing to their mother, he couldn't recall what he told them, but proceeded with his horrific plan. Chris first smothered Celeste with her favorite Blue Yankees blanket while Bella watched in silence. After disposing of Celeste's body in an oil tank, he returned to Bella, who asked if the same thing would happen to her as it did to Celeste. Despite her pleas and desperate struggle for life, Chris suffocated Bella as well. Her last words were, "Daddy, no," a haunting phrase that Chris later admitted haunts him every time he closes his eyes. Chris disposed of Bella's body in one oil tank and Celeste's in another, before burying Shanann in a shallow grave nearby. Even in death, he cruelly denied them the comfort of being together. His actions were calculated and devoid of emotion, a stark contrast to the loving father he had portrayed himself to be. The community of Frederick was left in shock and disbelief as news of the murders spread. Friends and neighbors struggled to reconcile the Chris they knew, a seemingly devoted father and husband, with the man who committed such horrific acts against his own family. The case garnered intense media scrutiny, drawing national attention and sparking widespread outrage. Shanann's family expressed profound grief and disbelief at Chris's actions. They were relieved when he finally admitted that Shanann had no role in their daughters' deaths, but faced additional pain from online harassment and conspiracy theories that circulated in the aftermath. In November 2018, Chris Watts pleaded guilty to multiple counts of first-degree murder as part of a plea deal that spared him the death penalty. He received 5 life sentences without parole, plus additional years for tampering with bodies and unlawfully terminating a pregnancy. In reflecting on this case, we are left questioning how well we truly know those closest to us, and whether anyone is capable of harboring such darkness beneath an ordinary exterior. The Watts family murders remain a chilling reminder that evil can lurk where we least expect it, shattering lives in its wake.